I often think about this, and this might be woohoo, religious, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. But I often think about this. There's a connection that we have to the higher realm. I believe it's a connection to God, and then we got another connection, which is to our flesh, to the human body,
Yeah.
which is like animalistic, and it has like desires, it has self-preservation, it wants to like evolution, like all these ends. I do believe there's different levels of analysis when it comes to these different things. So like religion has a different place to spirituality, and that has a different place to science, because what religion does for us in our connection to the higher realm is different from what science does to us in our understanding of our environment, but like we're trying to merge the two, and then we hear that this doesn't work for this, so this must be wrong. And it's like, I think that kind of, I think that's been an ongoing battle in the mind of the species for so long, that we've kind of modeled the world so much we didn't even understand the difference anymore. I think it shows in how we treat each other,
Yeah.
because there's another question I have for you, is like the understanding of the other, right? Whenever I go through a spiritual awakening,
Yeah.
I often feel like, and I think it's definitely a thing where, because I'm mostly connected to peace. I kind of just finding peace and finding comfortability with my environment. It's like once I understand my role in the wider pattern, let's say, I become more like calmer. My emotions are more like stiller. I think yeah, definitely, like, but in that moment, I can understand that I am one of the other. I am one with you. I'm one of the person who's walking in the street, because we both come from the same source.
Yeah.
It's just they're just built from different perspectives.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, question I have for you is, what is that? What is that like? There's that feeling of like feeling that there is no other, and that we're all connected from the same source.
Definitely. Yeah.
How is that like? What does that play in your life?
And I mean, that is not even like a faith thing, right? That is literally like science. Like we know that we all come from the same source. I mean, we're all from the same universe. Like obviously all come from the same source. Like we used to all be just stardust, right? So that's not even like a crazy belief to have, but we know it's actually true. But it's like people forget that, I think.
Why? Why do you think we forget that?
I think it's the same thing. Like the fact that I think you're too, I don't want to say brainwashed, but you're like so deep into this society that was built by us humans that you forget about the bigger picture, and you forget that at the end of the day, we're literally just random animals on a floating rock. We shouldn't take life so seriously and be like, I need to be a freaking CEO or this. I mean, good for you if that's what you want, but just remember that you're just a random animal. You're going to die and no one will have cared. Like, that's just how it is.
It's like the issue a lot too. That's the thing there, right? It's like no one will care except from the people that remember you. And if they die, no one's gonna care about anyway, But like, it's like in the moment when you have the connection there, that's what that matters. It's like you have to remove it from the end of like the finale of it all, bring it right to the moment, where the moment is what matters, because those are the only thing that matters. Because you almost like it's centered focus. That's why attention is so important.
Yeah.
But that's why they are stealing our attention, because they become so easy when you steal their attention of people. You make it easier for them not to live, not to be alive, or not to have.
That's the thing. I feel like they're not like, people are just on like autopilot. There's like work, dinner, sleep, work, dinner, sleep. And it's like, I understand that we need to do that for survival. But I just think we also need to remember why we're even here, and like what even is the purpose of your life. Like, and I think sometimes sometimes I feel like it makes me almost like angry, because it makes me feel like you take life for granted. You think that, like, so I'm not saying everyone, of course, like everyone's different, but like, I do feel like society makes you believe that you will live till you're 90 and you'll have kids and get married. No, like that's not, like, you can literally die at any moment. There's people in their 20s who get cancer. And I think, and it's sad because then people sometimes only realize how precious life is once they do get cancer, and it's sad that it has to come to that point until you finally realize how like precious life is. And yeah, and I think maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just not made for this society, but
I had like that. So the conversation with my friend yesterday, I was like, man, I feel like I'm becoming more and more disillusioned with the society that we've created. And he was like, yeah, man, because like, why would you want to be aligned with a misaligned society? You know, if the society is misaligned in its own values that made it what it is, be misaligned yourself, feeling like you're not aligned.
I think it's like the whole like, you know, like you always have to be competitive against the other. You always have to make more money. You always have to grow and grow and grow. And it's just like, I think it's just capitalism. It's just like, I don't like it's good for us.
Yeah. Okay, let's not paint a better picture because you paint a very bleak picture. But like, I think it's important if I state the problem and then now we can offer a solution to it. Because I feel like
and it's tough because we're so deep into this now. We can't. It's not something we can just change overnight, right? Like I think because everything is built on this kind of economy and this kind of society. Like, how are we gonna? I mean, it's gonna take so long to change that.
But it starts with what individual, right? It starts with the person looking at themselves and trying to change the way they interact with the world, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How have you done that then? Like, let's kind of talk about how people can come out of that bubble that they're in mentally, you know, that kind of like zombie landed in.
I think you just have to stay true to yourself, not take life for granted, and really understand why am I here and what is my purpose on this earth and what is it that I want to achieve with the time I have on this earth. And for me, I think it's like, well, like I said, like kind of like I want to release some of the suffering of the earth. And the way I want to do that is by helping people. And again, like there was a journey for me to realize that. And I think I realized, wait, when I work in these companies, like I am making a difference, which is a good difference. But I think personally, I need to see like a direct difference. So that's why I want to get more into like therapy or teaching, things like that, basically.
I think it's so important. I think it's so important too, because I realized this for myself too, where it's like when I chase material kind of pursuits, you know, ambition, you know, I think we all get caught up in that. You know, anyone who's capable in any way can get caught up in the pursuit of something because they've been like, oh man, I really want to be the best at that. But I also realized too that's a trap because that's you falling into the trap that's created. It's like it's like that. It's like an image of like, you know, the cheese is always there, but
it's always if I have another promotion, then I'll be good, and another promotion, another. You're just like in an endless cycle, and then you just have more and more responsibilities, less and less time. And then you're
dead. You're dead because it's just 60 years old and everything's over.
So you have a burnout.
Yeah, it's not great. But I think there's an understanding within that where it's like once you kind of wake up to that, and I think that's what I'm going to talk about too. How did you, maybe after that, say when you were 15, have that realization? How did you kind of piece your own world of your own like understanding back together? How did you form your own thought patterns about like, okay, I'm gonna move away from what everyone else says is the truth, which is like decadence and like achievement and all of that. I'm actually going to build this. What kind of things did you read? What kind of like meditation practices and stuff that you did?
Well, I mean, I don't think that came like after the psychosis. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was definitely like a gradual thing. I think the first time that I got interested more into like Buddhism was when I was quite depressed at the time. And then my ex was quite into like meditation and things like that. So he lent me some books about it. And it really opened up my way of thinking and my new perspective. And I was like, oh my God, like when I was depressed, I didn't realize I was like blaming myself a lot. Like also like blaming others and always like, I don't know, I had a lot of like anger and things like that. But then learning more about Buddhism and meditation, I think that really helped me like understand that, you know, thoughts are just thoughts. They just come and go. And yeah, you shouldn't identify yourself too much with the thoughts that you get. And that, yeah, you just kind of can like take a step back for your emotions and not get too caught up into them. And that helped me really find like a kind of like more of like a peace, like more of like an inner peace. And then I did a lot of like meditation for a long time, or meditate like every day, and that really helped me with finding like kind of like an inner peace. Wait,
I had the same as friend. There's no question. We're just talking. I had the same kind of realization too. For me, it was, I think I got into a point where I was just so always agitated, worried about the next thing, worried about something in the future or in the past. And I was like, cool, I have to change something. And so I started like meditating, started meditation. That was like my own way of like kind of grasping some level of control in the moment, you know, and like even that was like wrong because I was like, oh, I was trying to hold on to something.
Yeah.
Meditation was all about letting go and just accepting.
Exactly. It really helps you like let go. And I think that's a huge thing, like be able to let go of like everything. And I think that's when you really find peace, is when you can just let go of everything.
100%. And then from that, for me, it was like, okay, now I understand more of myself, was about expression. So the question I have for you now is, how did expression for you help? Well, how did stuff like poetry help you kind of like understand yourself, and what was your journey into poetry?
Yeah. So I think poetry for me is, well, I have a lot of like intense emotions, and
Same.
so I think it started like when I was extremely depressed, like lowest of my life I've ever been. And I didn't know what to do. Like I literally didn't know what to do with myself. And my friend was like, why don't you do like journaling? Why don't you like write down some of your emotions? I could help. I was like, okay, cool. So I started writing, and then I don't know, I just felt inspired to just slowly became a poem. And I was like, oh, that's quite nice. And then I don't know, I started doing it more and more. And now I do it like, yeah, like quite regularly. I really enjoy just like putting my feelings into words. It feels like less heavy for me once I have it kind of out there. It feels like I can let go of them. And I think it's important to be able to have some sort of artistic, like creative expression, like self-expression, whatever that is for everyone. Yeah.
I completely agree. I think it's like, for me, okay, my journey too was kind of very similar, where it's like I'd gone to a stage where I was very much at peace. Well, you know, that's a transit thing, but I was very much at peace in that moment. And I felt like I wanted to express, and I felt like it was good to try to express my inner monologue. And I've always been interested in like hip hop and all these different types of music. And so there was a kind of musical way of my thinking, and it kind of always had that texture to it. And I've always done poetry too. And so like once I started writing, what was so interesting for me was that I felt at the beginning I was forcing it, and that it wouldn't come out well. But then when I let go and I wasn't judgmental whatever it came out, that's when it really started. Did you have that same experience?
I think I only write when I let go. I don't know how, I can't force it. Like if I try to force it, I just won't write. Like I don't, So sometimes I don't write for months. Though I don't write all the time. I'm not like, oh my God, I have to write one every week or something. You know, it's very like, I'm very letting it go like freely. Sometimes I write loads. Sometimes maybe almost nothing for a year. It really depends.
Do you write something that surprises you? Do you ever write something like, oh my God, I can't believe I felt that?
I think, you know, it's interesting because I wrote some poems, and then I used to be like, oh, they're so bad. Like, I suck at this. And then I'll do the poetry performance and I'll be like, oh my God, like, I'm so much worse than everywhere. It's like, everyone's going to be like, who's this random girl thinking she can perform here? Number one, please. I've had very much, like, that's how I felt last time. And then people were like, wow, it's really good. I really liked your poetry. And I was like, oh my God, okay, people actually liked it. I think that kind of made me believe more in myself. And then when I had like a recent, very spiritual journey and a lot of things that I realized about myself and the world, I looked at my poetry again and I was like, this is beautiful. Like, why was I so hard on myself? You know? And I was like, oh, I actually like it. And I don't know. I was like, oh my God, like I was so hard on myself. And like, it's sad that I couldn't like see the beauty in my own art, you know?
I think it's so interesting for anyone to see the beauty in your own art, because it shows a different side to yourself. Like I'm at a point where I can really say, like, I don't think I control my creativity. I think I have this idea about human beings being like meat puppets for ideas. And ideas
Being what?
are meat puppets. Like you're just like the mitzi.
Right.
You're just like you're a human being, you're walking around and like yours are just pinging to your brain. Yeah, it's like, yo, do this whole thing, and then you're like, I have to express this. It's like it's not you, it's like the idea is like breathing through you almost, you know, it's like this. But it's like I really do think that because my own experience is like I have ideas about things. Like right now I'm going through like a spiritual
Say what you want, just say it.
a spiritual awakening. And now this means that everything I write is now spiritual in a sense. It's like, it's me trying to understand something that's larger than me.
Yeah.
And then in like an in-between stage. And I'm like, even me, I'm like, I don't really know what this is trying to say, but I know I'm trying to say something, and it's like always having that feeling. And I think that's, even having that kind of conversation, because I found I have conversations with myself, because it's just an internal monologue. I'm like, oh my God, this is really how I think, or this is really what I thought about that. Like, goddamn, like, it's like that kind of like, openness and vulnerability and all that thing. I think that's so important for just people to be balanced that way, It all exposes that different side to you. Speaking of openness and vulnerability, I think a lot of the time people don't do that. People don't make that jump because they have fear. So I want to talk about fear now, and how fear is controlling people, and how people, once they let go of fear, once they let go of trying to fit in, they can now like embrace the world, embrace themselves. Talk a bit more about that. What role do you think fear plays in our society, and how do you think people can like overcome it?